Okay, so kind of got the dash torn apart here, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. I've got the AC on, and the reason I've taken the dash apart is because with the AC on, set down to the lowest temperature, I got cold air coming out of the passenger side, and I got warm air coming out of the driver's side. Okay, so what I did was I took this all apart to look down. There's these little doors. So these little doors in there, you can see there's a little door. I don't know if you can see it in the white area there. There's a little door, and over here there's another one that, and those are controlled by what they call an actuator with a little gear, and it turns it, you know, to open it, close it, or whatever. So I had taken that apart. I couldn't find anything that really looked like it was a problem. And then I did a little bit more research, and it says that sometimes when it does this, only part of the evaporator is getting refrigerant. It might mean that there's a low refrigerant charge, and that's sort of what I thought anyway, because this car, I recharge the system every summer. I get a few months out of a charge, like one of those cans you buy, the aftermarket refrigerant, and then it usually needs it again, and I usually tell by, you know, it's starting to blow some warm air instead of cold. But and I was starting to feel warm air, but I didn't realize it was blowing cold over there. It's ice cold there, warm there. So some people say it's an actuator problem. But like I say, one of the symptoms can be just a low charge. Now, I did try and put a charge in there the other day. The refrigerant wouldn't go through the line, like the gauge wasn't changing pressure. And I think maybe it's a defective gauge. So I bought another little line set with a gauge, and I'm going to try that right now. Let's try and put some refrigerant in it, see if it'll accept it. Because I started looking into it, it's a really strange little problem. You know, hot on one side, cold on the other. I know this system leaks a bit, so I get about a month or so, maybe 2 months out of a can of this. And I put it in myself using one of these little things you can get on Amazon. That taps into the can there, and that goes into your low pressure side. And on this car, it's under this little cap right here. That's the low pressure side. That's the high pressure sides. So I would just take that cap off, put this on, put it on the can first, and here, and I'll show you how to do that. But I went to put some refrigerant in the other day, and it wouldn't accept refrigerant, and it looked like it was up in around, you know, 60 psi when I hooked the can to it. And I thought, okay, well, it's not taking refrigerant, so it's already actually a little rich on the refrigerant. You know, it might be just a little bit too much in there, but I found that kind of strange. So I'll show you here in a minute, but I ended up taking all that apart to take a look and see if there was an actuator that wasn't moving, or if there was a little door that was stuck or something. I couldn't see anything in there that looked like it was stuck. Okay, so this is what I had been using for a couple of years to charge up that system when it went low. And you can see here, it's open to the inside of the can. So that's the pressure I was reading. I thought I was reading what was inside the system when I had it hooked up, but there's a problem with this end of it. See, this is not really seating properly. Now, if you compare that to the replacement one I bought, see this here, see how that works so easy. So that's the problem. So basically, I read the symptoms, that one of the symptoms could be a low charge. So the first thing I did was I tried to put a charge in it because I thought it was getting low anyway. So I grabbed the trusty hose and everything, and I screwed a can onto here. Now, this can is full, and I don't know how to get it off of here without losing the refrigerant, because there's two different kinds of cans, even in the same manufacturer. I'll show you them. There's ones that have a little valve in the can, so you could take it off the hose and move it to somewhere else, even though it's still got refrigerant in it. And then there's another type that's a puncture right here. So this can that's on here is the puncture type. So once I screwed down that little piece inside the valve, it's punctured the can. So if I was to unscrew that, and I've tried it already, just, you know, a little bit, I've tried to take it off of here, and it's letting refrigerant out, even though that this is backed off. So for now, I have a full can of refrigerant, and that actually tells me something else. That when I tried to put refrigerant in the other day, nothing left the can. And that's why I looked at it, and I looked at the gauge, and I thought, okay, wow, it's got a That's even, you know, way up above where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of in the blue when the system's running good and you got a full charge in it. So, you know, I didn't think that it was going to be defective because it had worked before. But knowing that, I bought this other hose, and that's the one I'm going to show you here in a minute. We're going to put a charge in the system. But something as simple as a tool that you've used before and you think it's going to work again can mess you up. Like I ended up taking that whole dash apart, looking at those actuators and trying to think, okay, maybe it's got to be something that. Certainly not a charge. It's got lots of refrigerant in it. Even though, I mean, sometimes, you know, if you have way too much refrigerant, that can cause the system not to work properly too. It's got to be in that range. You know, up here, it's not going to work well either. It's not going to cool. And down in here, it's not going to cool. It's got to be in that sort of the top end of the blue range. But that's what it was. It's a defective valve on the end of this hose. So any of you out there got a suggestion as to how I can reclaim this refrigerant? I don't know. I was trying to think about, because you know, right now there's refrigerant in here all the way to that valve. I'm going to try and free that up, I guess. But so you got to be careful, you know, working with refrigerant under pressure, because the minute it you know, reduces in pressure, it's going to absorb heat, and basically it means it's going to freeze your skin, or if you get it in the eye, it could damage your eye. So yeah, be careful around it. Okay, so I'm going to show you the when I put refrigerant in using the new hose. You can get it at different types of auto stores. They'll have this aftermarket refrigerant stuff. This is the charging hose. The can goes on here. It's got the gauge, and it's got a connector that goes to your low pressure side, which is down here. I'll show you that in a moment. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that this little centerpiece is backed up. You want to back that up out of the way, because when you back it, when you push it down, see this little centerpiece comes down, you see that there's a sharp point there, and that'll puncture the can. See it coming down? See that? Okay, so we're going to back it all the way the other way. So it's out of the way, and then make sure there's a gasket in here. And we're just going to screw the can onto there. Okay, nothing should happen yet, because that's out of the way of the can. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. How this works is you hold that back, you stick it on that line, and let that go, and that locks it. Okay, so right here's the low pressure side. Take that little cap off. So that little cap is off there now. All right, and then we're just going to do what I said. We're going to just take this. We're going to hold this back, stick it on there, let it go. And you don't want to have your face down in there in case it leaks. Refrigerant will burn you or freeze your skin. So make sure you have safety goggles on to do this. So I'm going to hook this up now. Okay, there, it's on there. Okay, now with that hooked to there, what I'm going to do, it says here this side up for charging. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to screw this in, and I watch the gauge. And I'm just going to open this. I'm going to screw that into the can, and we're going to release refrigerant into the line. Here we go. All right. So that's taking refrigerant into the system now. And where it wants to be when you're finished is somewhere about that, in that area. So I'm going to just, see, I'm going to open that again. No, it's not quite enough. See, it's not up there high enough, so it's going to go up a bit more. I'm going to screw that into the can some more. I can feel the can getting cold. The refrigerant's going into the system. I'll just shake it a little bit. So I'm just shaking the can a little bit. Right. Yeah, I think that can's empty now. Okay, so I'm just going to back it up. Open it, take that out of the center of the can. All right, see it's cycling there. It looks like it might be working. All right, now I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to disconnect this. That's it. I just squeezed it. There, I just squeezed it up like that, pulled it off. All right. And I'm gonna put that little cap back on there. All right, let's go inside and see what those temperatures are doing. Back inside, that's blowing cold. And that's blowing cold. Okay, that's it. It was a low charge. So a low charge, it's really funny, like everyone was pointing to these actuator doors being the problem, but a low charge will cause it too. Look at that, that's ice cold now. And that's ice cold now. Before, this one was nice and cold, this one was warm.